The black marker site. The asteroid that killed the dinosaurs 65 million years ago wasn't carrying rock. It was carrying a signal. The black marker, the original, the source of everything in this franchise, was found in 2214 inside the Chicxulub crater on Mexico's Yucatan Peninsula, buried in the seabed, older than the human species by tens of millions of years. When geophysicist Michael Altman's research team unearthed it, they found an artifact emitting a persistent electromagnetic field from no identifiable power source. They thought it was limitless energy. It was a broadcast. And the moment they raised it, the first necromorphs appeared. EarthGov didn't destroy the marker. They studied it. They reverse-engineered it. And when Altman went public to warn the world, they had him killed. His assassins, two former colleagues named Stevens and Markov, repackaged his murder as divine martyrdom and used it to found the Church of Unitology. The man who died trying to stop marker worship became the religion's founding prophet. His warning became their scripture. Every red marker in the franchise is a copy of this one artifact. Every outbreak traces back to this crater. And the thing EarthGov's own researcher Kenner Phelps concluded in his Project Telomere logs? That the compulsion to build copies wasn't human ambition, it was programming, written into our biology by something that fell from space before our species existed. But the marker copies didn't stay buried. Aegis VII, Colony. The colonists on Aegis VII didn't go insane because they found the marker. They went insane because they moved it. Aegis VII was a CEC planet crack mining colony in the Cygnus system. In 2508, an illegal survey unearthed Marker 3A, a red marker copy buried in the planet's crust since 2314 by the sovereign colonies. Here's what most people miss. While the marker sat undisturbed on its pedestal, it was actually suppressing necromorph activity in its immediate vicinity. It created a dead zone around itself, a dead space. That's where the title comes from. The mass psychosis, insomnia, hallucinations, colonists scrawling identical marker symbols on every wall, all of it began only after the marker was extracted and brought aboard the Ishimura, removed the containment signal, and the colony collapsed within days. The planet itself became tectonically unstable. The gravity tethers holding the planet crack load failed, and a 4 trillion-ton chunk of surface crashed back into Aegis VII, fracturing the core. Remove the signal, and the ground falls apart, just like the people. USG Ishimura. The Ishimura was the pride of the fleet, the first Planet Cracker-class ship ever built. Commissioned in 2446, 1.6 kilometers long, a crew of 1,332, 62 years of continuous service, 34 successful planet cracks. It became a tomb in under 72 hours. The Ishimura wasn't just a mining vessel. It was a symbol of human innovation, the first ship outfitted with a shock point drive, capable of faster-than-light travel. But the Aegis VII deployment was never about mining. The Church of Unitology had infiltrated the CEC at the executive level. Colony manager Hanford Carthusia was Unitology. The ship's real mission was marker recovery. When Marker 3A came aboard, the crew descended into psychosis within days. Dr. Kine's medical logs document it in real time. Insomnia, hallucinations, homicidal violence, death. Then the dead started walking the corridors. What most players miss about the Ishimura is its design logic. The gravity tethers and mining tools built to dismember worlds became the survivors' only weapons against the necromorphs. The tools that eat planets became the tools that fight the dead. In the 2023 remake, the marker's whispers change depending on which deck you're standing on. Medical deck whispers speak of transformation. On the Valor wreckage, you hear dead Marines' radio chatter. Dead, on, arrival. The ship speaks to you in the voice of everyone it consumed. But the Ishimura wasn't the only ship that answered the signal. USM Valor. The military didn't send the Valor to rescue the Ishimura's crew. They sent it to sterilize the evidence. The USM Valor was an EDF Navy destroyer deployed under Operation White Light with classified orders. Secure Marker 3A. If necromorphs were present, deploy the 12-megaton Eurydice nuclear missile to destroy the Ishimura and every witness aboard. Commander Cadigan's briefing says it plainly. All personnel must submit to full psychological examination during debriefing. The 64 Marines aboard were told nothing about what they were walking into. When an escape pod carrying a live necromorph was brought aboard for inspection, the ship was overrun within the hour. A fully armed military warship fell faster than a civilian mining vessel, because the civilians at least knew what was hunting them. And Aegis VII wasn't EarthGov's first experiment, not even close. EarthGov marker test sites. The sovereign colonies found the source of the marker signal. They knew exactly where it was coming from, and they buried the data and killed everyone who'd seen it. After reverse engineering the black marker, the sovereign colonies built red marker copies and shipped them to at least 3 classified planets beginning in 2294. All 3 activated. All 3 triggered Necromorph outbreaks. All 3 were sealed and purged from record. But here's what matters. The test sites weren't just experiments. The colonies built the Ptolemy Array, a system that used 3 red markers as receivers to triangulate the origin of the signal itself. And it worked. They traced the signal to a frozen planet called Volalantis. They sent an expedition. They found what was waiting there. And then they invoked Scenario 5, executed every scientist and every soldier on the expedition, destroyed every byte of data, and pretended none of it ever happened. They didn't fail to find the truth. They found it, and they chose to erase it. The largest test site was hiding in plain sight. Titan Station, the Sprawl. Titan Station was home to over 1 million people. Built on the last remaining fragment of Saturn's moon Titan, the site of the first planet crack in human history, back in the 2440s. Schools, shopping malls, apartment towers, a unitologist church, an entire metropolis wrapped around a shard of a dead moon. And the director was building a marker underneath all of it. Director Hans Tiedemann ran Project Telomere in the government sector, a classified EarthGov program that extracted marker blueprints directly from Isaac Clarke's brain over 3 years of forced sedation. Using those codes, Tiedemann's team constructed a gold marker beneath the civilian population, 1 million unknowing test subjects. When the outbreak came, it started in the Titan mines and crawled upward through the crossover tubes into the public sector. It reached Cassini Towers. It reached the shopping concourse. It reached everywhere. Tiedemann ordered immediate civilian evacuation directly against his EarthGov superior's orders. Some shuttles made it out. Most didn't. When Isaac got close to the marker, Tiedemann used the station's solar array to physically cut the Sprawl in half, severing the civilian sectors from the government sector. He burned his own station trying to protect a weapon that was already consuming it. The architecture tells the whole story. Bright, clean civilian sectors above, blood-soaked government corridors below. 2 realities stacked on top of each other. 1 million people living their normal lives 6 floors above the end of the world. And the Necromorphs reached the elementary school, CMS Terra Nova and CMS Roanoke. 200 years before Isaac Clarke, the sovereign colonies sent a military expedition to follow the marker signal to its source. When General Spencer Mahad lost control of what they found, the Council authorized Scenario 5, a first contact protocol mandating the execution of every soldier, every scientist, and the destruction of all data. Mass killings, forced suicides, the research buried, the ships left in orbit. The CMS Terra Nova and CMS Roanoke had been dispatched around 2031 to Volalantis. The expedition found the planet. They found evidence of a non-human civilization. They found necromorphs. And Dr. Earl Serrano, the lead researcher, tried to complete the alien machine before the purge reached him. He failed. But before Mahad's soldiers came, Serrano halved the alien specimen he called Rosetta into pieces and hid them across the planet to preserve the research. Then he waited to die. The ships drifted for 200 years, frozen, silent, waiting for someone to find what the sovereign colonies tried to erase. Volalantis. Volalantis isn't a frozen wasteland. It's a frozen crime scene. The entire planet is a body. 2 million years ago, this was an ocean world, home to a technologically advanced, semi-aquatic alien species. They found a black marker. They replicated it. They built copies across their surface, for energy, for worship, for reasons the signal made feel essential. The markers triggered a convergence event. Billions of bodies, alive and dead, were pulled into orbit, fusing together around the marker to form a single, colossal necromorph entity, an incomplete moon. But a surviving faction built a machine, a city-sized device buried beneath the surface. They activated it, and in a single pulse, flash froze the entire planet, oceans, atmosphere, the incomplete moon in orbit. Everything stopped. The ice on Volalantis is not natural weather. It is a containment protocol, the last act of a species that couldn't stop the infection, so they froze it in place. The surface is littered with alien corpses frozen mid-transformation. The terrain is former ocean bed canyons that were once trenches, cliffs that were once ridges. Every step you take is on top of something that was dying when time stopped. Beneath the ice, the builders left their city behind. The alien city, Beneath Tau Volantis, there is a city. Its builders are still inside. They're part of the walls. The subterranean alien city is the only evidence of non-human civilization in the Dead Space universe. But it isn't a city, it's the machine. Dr. Serrano's logs describe his amazement at the statuary alien figures clustered everywhere, integrated into the architecture. They weren't statues, they were the calcified remains of the species, fused into the machine as functional components. The logs never answer the question that matters most, whether the aliens walked into the machine voluntarily offering their bodies as the final material their weapon required, or whether the machine was built around them as they died, and they simply became part of it because there was nothing left to do with the dead. Either way, the architects of the planet Salvation became its architecture. The aliens looked nothing like humans, massive, semi-aquatic, tentacled, but their story is identical to ours. They found a marker, they copied it, they worshipped it, they fed it their dead. Then they built a weapon out of their own bodies to stop what they'd started. The Codex, the key to completing the machine, only worked with the species' pure DNA, not necromorph DNA, which is why the frozen specimen, Rosetta, preserved from infection, was vital when Serrano found her 200 years later. The markers don't care what shape their food comes in. The Brethren moons. The markers were never weapons. They were never energy sources. They were bait. Every marker in the Dead Space universe is a lure cast by something the size of a planet. The Brethren moons are the final revelation. Necromorph organisms the size of celestial bodies, drifting through deep space in hibernation. Each moon was once a living world. A civilization found a black marker, replicated it, experienced convergence, and was consumed. Every organism on the planet, alive and dead, fused into a single entity, a moon. Then it woke up. Then it joined the others. The markers are seeds. They land on worlds, broadcast a signal that compels intelligent species to copy them, trigger outbreaks, and initiate convergence. The moon grows from the planet's biomass. Every outbreak in every Dead Space game was not a malfunction. It was not an accident. It was reproduction working exactly as designed. In the Awaken DLC, the moons speak directly to Isaac. They don't threaten. They don't rage. Their words are simple. We are all awake now. Awake and hungry. Earth. They had always known where it was. In the Awaken DLC, the Brethren moons revealed the truth Isaac had been afraid of. They were never following him to Earth. They were stalling him. They had known Earth's location since the black marker landed 65 million years ago. Every hallucination, every whisper telling him to lead them home, that was misdirection. They didn't need a guide. They needed time. In the final moments, Isaac Clarke and John Carver reach Earth aboard the CMS Terra Nova. They try every channel. Static. Then not static. Screaming. The wet, unmistakable sound of slaughter. They look through the cockpit. The Brethren moons are already there, descending on the planet, tentacles scouring the surface. They had arrived before Isaac did. The black marker that landed in the Chicxulub crater was not a random impact. It was the first lure cast at this world. Altman's discovery, EarthGov's experiments, the Ishimura, the Sprawl, Tau Volantis, all of it was the signal chain activating as designed, drawing the moons to the richest food source in the system. The franchise ends not with survival, but with the quiet confirmation that everything Isaac fought for was already too late. It was too late before he was born. It was too late before the species existed. Every location in Dead Space tells the same story. Something was buried, someone dug it up, and the thing that was waiting, patient, ancient, hungry, began to feed.
Subscribe for more interesting stuff. Tell us your experience in the comments.